The enduring legacy of Paul Biya, Africa's longest-serving president. In the heart of Central Africa, nestled between the West African coastline and the heart of the Congo Basin, lies Cameroon, a country of rich cultural diversity, stunning landscape, and a complex political history. Among its many facets, Cameroon is also known for one man who has been at the helm of its leadership for over 4 decades. President Paul Biya. His reign is not just a footnote in the annal of African history. It is a saga of political maneuvering, survival, and the profound changes that have shaped the nation. Born on February 13, 1933, in a small village of Vomeka in the South Province of Cameroon, Paul Biya's early life was marked by a pursuit of education. From the humble beginning in the Cameroonian countryside, Paul Biya rose through the ranks of academia, studying at prestigious institutions in France, including the University of Paris, where he earned degrees in law and political science. This educational background will prove instrumental in his political career. Upon returning to Cameroon, Biya entered the civil service, quickly climbing the administrative ladder. His early role included stints as a bureaucrat in the Ministry of National Education, and by 1962, he was appointed director of the cabinet of the Minister of National Education. His competence and loyalty do not go unnoticed, and he soon caught the eye of the country's first president, Ahmadou Ahidjo. By the 1970s, Biya had become one of Ahidjo's most trusted confidants. In 1975, Ahidjo appointed him prime minister, a move that was widely seen as grooming Biya for succession. The handover of power came sooner than anyone expected. In 1982, in a surprise move, Ahidjo resigned, citing health reasons, and Biya was ushered in as a successor. Biya's ascent to the presidency was initially smooth, marked by a period of political liberalization and reforms. He promised to steer the nation towards greater democracy and respect for human rights. However, the honeymoon period was short-lived. In April 1984, just 2 years into his presidency, Biya faced a serious challenge to his authority, a coup attempt led by elements of the presidential guard loyal to the former president, Ahidjo. The coup was swiftly and brutally suppressed, but it left Biya deeply scared and suspicious of those around him. This event marked a significant turning point in Biya's rule. From then on, his governance style shifted towards greater centralization of power and a tightening grip on political dissent. The once promising era of democratic reform was replaced by a regime characterized by political repression, control over the media, and the suppression of opposition parties. Over the next few decades, Paul Biya mastered the art of political survival. His presidency is notable not just for its longevity, but for its ability to adapt and withstand the pressure that have brought down other regimes. Biya's reign has spanned the end of the Cold War, the rise of multi-party democracy across Africa, and the dawn of the digital age. Through it all, he has managed to maintain the firm grip on power. One of the key strategies has been his adept manipulation of the political landscape. Under Biya, Cameroon transitioned to a multi-party system in the 1990s, but the process was tightly controlled. Opposition parties were allowed, but they faced significant hurdles, including harassment, legal challenges, and restrictions on their activities. Elections under Paul Biya have often been criticized by international observers for irregularities, lack of transparency, and allegations of fraud. Despite this, Biya has managed to secure repeated victories, ensuring his continued stay in power. One of the most significant challenges during Biya's presidency has been the Anglophone crisis, a conflict that erupted in the mid-2010s in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon. The root of this crisis lies in the historical marginalization of the Anglophone minorities, who have felt increasingly disenfranchised under Biya's predominantly Francophone government. The crisis escalated into a violent conflict, with separatist groups in the Anglophone regions calling for independence. The government response has been heavy-handed, with military crackdowns leading to widespread violence, human rights abuses, and a growing humanitarian crisis. This conflict has tarnished Biya's legacy and cast a shadow over his long rule. As Paul Biya approaches his 91st birthday, he remains an enigmatic and controversial figure. His supporters view him as a stabilizing force in a region often plagued by turmoil. They credit him with maintaining peace and unity in a country of diverse ethnic groups and languages. Under his leadership, Cameroon has avoided large-scale conflicts that have destabilized many of its neighbors. However, critics argue that this stability has come at a high cost. They point to widespread corruption, a stagnant economy, and lack of political freedom as evidence of Biya's failure to modernize the country. They accuse him of entrenching a system of patronage and using state resources to maintain his hold on power. As we reflect on the complex and multifaceted history of Paul Biya, one thing is clear: his story is far from over, whether we viewed as a stabilizing force or a symbol of authoritarianism. Biya's impact on Cameroon and Africa at large is undeniable. If you have found this deep dive into the life and times of Paul Biya compelling, there is more to come. We will be exploring the histories, triumphs, and tribulations of other African leaders who have shaped the continent in profound ways. So if you are fascinated by the intricate web of African political and the leaders who have navigated it, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Join us on this journey through Africa's rich and complex history. You won't want to miss the next chapter. Peace. Peace profound.